Hello, this is Mark from Productive Computing and Productive Computing University. You are about to watch a selected JSON lesson from our free course called JSON Fundamentals for FileMaker Developers. Knowing how to create, parse, and manipulate JSON is essential in order to integrate FileMaker with the world of APIs, Claris Connect, artificial intelligence, and more. In this complete course, we'll cover everything you need to know about JSON from the perspective of a Claris FileMaker Pro developer. We're making this course available for free because we feel it's an important and essential building block for you to understand in order to advance your skills to the next level. And once you learn how to manipulate JSON formatted text, you are that much closer to accomplishing your first API integration in your own FileMaker apps. And like all our other courses at Productive Computing University, this course comes complete with downloadable FileMaker files for you to use and follow along with. These downloadable files are available directly in selected lessons inside the course. There's a link in the description to enroll in this free course called JSON Fundamentals for FileMaker Developers at productivecomputinguniversity.com. Okay, now let's dive into the lesson. In this lesson, we are going to create JSON objects, but this time using multiple script steps. So starting where we left off from the previous lesson, on the previous lesson we had a single button triggering a single script that had a single script step. And within that script step, we had set information for 4 fields. Here's the key, here's the value, key value, with different types of JSON. Now, this is certainly one of the most popular ways to create JSON because you can do a lot in a single script step. However, not everybody likes to have a lot of information jam-packed in a single script step. You have other options. So let me give you an example. I will create another script and I'll call it multiple step JSON. In fact, I'm going to rename this to create JSON single step. I think that's a little bit better of a name. And on this one, it'll be something very similar, except it'll be multiple steps as the name. Perfect. So in this script, we want the exact same results, but the method to go about them will be slightly different. As with many things in FileMaker, there is usually multiple ways to do things. And knowing which one to use under which circumstance usually requires your own personal taste as well as your own personal experience. And similar to the original script we created, we set the field JSON. We'll do that here as well. So set field. What field are we setting? We want the JSON field to hold the results. And what do we want to calculate? Well, we want to essentially start the same way. I want to call the JSON set element function. The JSON we are starting will be empty for now, so I'll just put 2 double quotes. We'll start with our first field, which is name, and the first value will be name. Double click here from the database itself, and then we'll use JSON string as our type. So I'll push OK. And we'll go ahead and make a button for this. In fact, I'll just duplicate this button by holding the Option key and dragging to the right. I'll double click it to rename it, JSON multiple steps. And we want to perform the script JSON multiple steps. So that takes care of our button. I will rename this button just to keep it consistent with the other. There we go. Okay. So now let me manually remove the information from the JSON field, and then I'll click this button. So we have our first field represented. Here's the key, here's the value. So now I'll go back into the script we're working on, and I'll duplicate this script step, set field. Except on this second step, we'll do one important change, which is this first parameter here allows us to essentially add to, or you can think of it as merging to, the existing JSON. So my first parameter will be the field itself. In other words, I want to add here all of this information to this field, which already exists. And these functions are smart enough to merge the new information coming in with the existing JSON and adding to it. So this will be my second field. This will be company. And we'll grab the company value from the database itself, and this will still be a string. And push OK, and now I will perform this. And lo and behold, I now have 2 fields, company and name. Now they're not formatted yet because we haven't called the script step to do that. Let me finish adding my fields and then we'll format this. So I'll duplicate this script step. We'll continue to add to the JSON field that's already there, except this time we'll put age, and we'll call upon the field age, contacts : age. This will be JSON number. Okay, duplicate that. This time we will use the field mailing list. And we will grab that, and this will be JSON Boolean. Okay, and then a final script step at the end of this, I'll even put an extra line here so we can see the difference. We'll set the same field. What field are we setting? We're setting the JSON field, but this time we're formatting the JSON field. So I can put in format, JSON format elements. What JSON do we want to format? The information from the JSON field. Push OK, there we go. I'll go ahead and do a commit records for good measure. And now we'll use our button to perform it. And this button here will do the exact same thing as this button. In fact, you can't see the difference as I'm flipping these because they're exactly the same. So what do we learn from this? We can use a single script step and just make our calculation a little bit more complex by designating these brackets, which allows us to distinguish the elements in the JSON one by one, each on their own line. This is a streamlined approach, but it also doesn't self-describe. It's hard to see all the information here in this formula because it's embedded within a single script step. However, in this example, we can clearly see that we're setting the name, we're setting the company, we're setting the age, we're setting the mailing list, then we're formatting the objects. This is absorbing all of this in bite-sized pieces, and it's very descriptive when you're looking at the script. In fact, I would argue to say that most developers are accustomed to this sort of set field, set field, set field dynamic, because that's traditionally how all our script steps work when we're setting a bunch of fields. For example, when we're creating a new contact record and we want to pre-fill fields with different values, or the user clicks a button and we're duplicating information, we go line by line to see clearly what we're setting and what we're not setting. But I'm offering you both examples. There's no right or wrong answer. I think the answer comes down to what you prefer, or if you're on a team, what the team prefers, or you just may prefer a single script step to make your script smaller. And when it is time to look at the details, you can just look at the details and see the information here. It really does come down to personal preference. From the standpoint of performance, I might argue that the single script step will perform better than multiple script steps, only because the script engine doesn't have to process multiple script steps in order to populate this information. Instead, it's populating the field one time. This field is being evaluated just once, and then it's being evaluated with this single call to the set element. So if I had a preference from a performance standpoint, I would probably pick the JSON single step method. However, we're talking microseconds difference between the two. Another point in favor of the single step method is that if you are using JSON to populate script parameters, you'll need to do that in a single expression, in a single calculation when you define that script parameter. So that's another strong argument to keep it as a combined statement versus multiple script steps. From this point forward, I may go back and forth with the method I use when creating the JSON. Just be mindful that if I create JSON as a single step, it can be exploded to a multiple step situation or vice versa. Okay, so this file will be available below the video so you can see the differences between single step creation and multiple steps. Thanks for joining us on this lesson. To enroll in the free complete course, click on the link in the description or visit productivecomputinguniversity.com, where you'll find both free and paid courses on today's most important topics related to the Claris FileMaker platform.